you for joining.
Mic.
Mic होना करते हैं। हरे कृष्ण।
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. So let us start this Srimad Bhagavatam session which we conduct every Saturday. It's very auspicious to hear Bhagavatam, right? So let us start by singing Jai Radha Madhav. Jai Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Jaya Girivaradari Jaya Girivaradari Jaya Yashodananda Jaya Rajajana Ranjana Jaya Yashodananda Jaya Rajajana Ranjana Jaya Yashodananda Jaya Jana Jaya Yashodananda Jaya Rajajana Ranjana Jaya Yamuna Chiravanachari Jaya Kunja Vihari Jaya Yamuna Chiravanachari Jaya Kunja Vihari Jaya Yamuna Chiravanachari Jaya Kunja Vihari Jaya Yamuna Tiravanachari Jaya Kunja Vihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय जगन्नाथ बलदेव रमाई की जय नरसिंह भगवान की जय पंचतत्व की जय षड गोस्वामी की जय गुरु परंपरा की जय श्री रूपाल की जय गुरुदेव ठाकुर की जय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयं उदीरयेत्. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is a very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances unto the personality of God Narayana, unto Narayana Nishi, the supremest human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nashta prayesha bhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naishtiki. By regular attendance in classes on the Bhagavatam and by rendering of service to the pure devotees, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed, and loving service unto the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. So, Hare Krishna Pravis Mother is today we will be discussing from third canto, third chapter, first half. That means this chapter is 28 verses. So we'll be discussing the first 14 verses. So before we start, let us recite one verse out of these 14. And in fact, I will take the verse number 6. It's a very, very important verse actually in this chapter. And the chapter is entitled The Lord's Pastimes Out of Vṛndāvana. So it's the 6th verse, 336. Yeah. Sutam Vṛdekam Vapushagrasantam Drishtva Sunabhonmatitam Daritrya Amantritastat-tanayaya shesham Dattva tadanta puramavivesha Sutam Vṛdekam Vapushagrasantam Drishtva Sunabhonmatitam Daritrya Amantritastat-tanayaya shesham Dattva tadanta puramavivesha Sutam Vṛdekam Vapushagrasantam Drishtva Sunabhonmatitam Daritrya Amantritastat-tanayaya shesham Dattva tadanta puramavivesha. Hare Krishna. Anybody wants to recite? Can please go ahead.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Shall I recite?
Yes, Mother, please go ahead.
Sutam Vṛdekam Vapushagrasantam Drishtva Sunamon-matitam Dharitrya Amantritastattanayaya Shesham Dattva Tadanta Puramavivesha. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mother. Hare Krishna. Go to word meaning. Sutam, sun, Mrde, in the fight, Kham, the sky, Vapusha, by his body, Grasantam, by devouring, Drishtva, seeing, Sunabha, by the Sudarshana wheel, Unmatitham, killed, Dharitrya, by the earth, Amantritaha, being prayed for, Tattanayaya, to the son of Narakasura, Shesham, that which was taken from, Dattva, returning it, Tat, his, Anthapuram, inside the house, Avivesha, entered. Translation, purport which Divine Geshe Prabhupada ki jai. Narakasura, the son of Dharitri, the earth, tried to grasp the whole sky. And for this, he was killed by the Lord in a fight. His mother then prayed to the Lord. This led to the return of the kingdom to the son of Narakasura, and thus the Lord entered the house of the demon. Purport. It is said in other Puranas that Narakasura was the son of Dharitri, the earth, by the Lord himself. But he became a demon due to the bad association of Bana. Bana, there is another demon. An atheist is called a demon. And it's a fact that even a person born of good parents can turn into a demon by bad association. Birth is not always the criterion of goodness. Unless and until one is trained in the culture of good association, one cannot become good. Om Jnana Timurandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Yanta Pravishya Mamavacha Imam Prasuptam, Sanjeevayati Akila Shakti Dharasvadamnam, Anyam Chahasta Charana Shravanatvagadin, Prana Namo Bhagavate Purushaya Tubhyam. Most Vishnu Shivati Mahashiva Swami Tanaya. Vishnu Swami Rishesha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya. So, Hare Krishna Prabhu's Matajis, welcome all of you for this Bhagavatam session, and thank you very much for keeping the appointment with Krishna today. And we'll be discussing 14 verses because 28 verses are there in this chapter, third canto, third chapter. And this chapter is entitled The Lord's Pastimes Out of Vṛndāvana. In fact, each verse is a different pastime. In fact, this is like a trailer, this chapter. So you will have the extended the whole pastime in the 10th canto. So we'll just discuss within this 1 hour whatever we can plan to do. So let's recite the first verse and then one by one. Uddhavacha tatas agatya puram swapitrosh chikirshayasham baladeva samyutah nipatya tungad ripuyotanatham katam vikarshad vyasumoja survyam. See, in this first verse, the translation says, Shri Uddhava is praying. He said, thereafter, Lord Krishna went to Mathura city with Shri Baladeva, and to please their parents, they dragged Kamsa, the leader of public enemies, down from his throne and killed him, pulling him along the ground with great strength. See, in this verse, with regard to this verse, so long back, because when I was in Abu Dhabi, right, my Guru Maharaj had come there. It was in December 2007. He gave a class. And in fact, he used to visit where a lot of children's classes used to happen. So he used to visit them and give them good advice. So there is a very whole congregation, they met. So there is Maharaj's class was there. So in that class, he made everyone recite 6 points. I just tell what are those 6 points. He made every one of us recite these 6 points. Number 1, I will obey my parents. 2, I will never trouble them in any way. 3, I will always serve them the best of my ability. 4, I am really grateful to them for all they are doing for me. 5, I will never be arrogant with them. And 6, may Lord bless them with long, long life. So these are the 6 points he said. It may seem that this is relevant for our children only, but it is applicable to all of us, whether 2 years, 16 years, 45 years, 70 years, whatever it is. See, there is a story about an 80-year-old man who was sitting on the sofa in his home along with his 45-year-old son, very highly educated son. Suddenly, what happened? No, a crow came on the window and sat there. Now the father asked his son, what is this? He's 80-year-old man, right? The son replied, Father, it is a crow. So after a few minutes, the father asked his son the second time, what is this? The son said, Father, I just told you it's a crow. After a little while, old father again asked him the third time, what is this? The son said with some irritation, it is a crow, crow. A little after, the father again asked his son for the fourth time, what is this? This time the son shouted at his father, why do you keep asking me the same question again and again? Although I've told you so many times, it's a crow. Can't you understand this? A little later, the father went to his room and came back with an old, very tattered diary, which he had maintained since his son was born. So on opening a page, he asked his son to read that page. When the son read it, he read the words which were written in the diary. It goes like this. Today, my little son, age 3, was sitting with me on the sofa when a crow was sitting on the window. My son asked me 23 times what it was. And I replied to him all 23 times without any irritation that it was a crow. I hugged him lovingly each time he asked me the same question again and again, all 23 times. So, if parents attain old age, do not repulse them or look at them as a burden, but speak to them a gracious word. Be obedient, humble and kind to them. Be considerate to your parents. Be a worthy son. You can see in this purport, Prabhupada has written, be a worthy son. So we saw that Prabhupada was saying, therefore, thereafter Lord Krishna went to Mathura with Sri Baladeva and to please their parents. they dragged Kamsa, the leader of public enemies, down from his throne and killed him, pulling him along with the ground with great strength. So Prabhupada says in the purport, the Lord proved to be a worthy son of his parents. Even at the age of 16 years. See, both brothers, Krishna and Baldev, went to Mathura from Vṛndāvana and killed their maternal uncle, who had given so much trouble to their parents, Vasudeva and Devaki. So there are very many examples of a worthy son in Srimad Bhagavatam, like Prahlad Maharaj, Dhruva Maharaj, right? Puru. See, Maharaj Yayati wanted his son Puru to exchange his youth with his old age, and invalidity. So in Srimad Bhagavatam, 9th canto, 18th chapter, 44th verse, while accepting his father's request, Puru says, he says, there are 3 points. He said, a son who acts by anticipating what his father wants him to do is a first-class son. Second, one who acts upon receiving his father's order is a second-class son. Third, a son who executes his father's order irreverently, is a third-class son. But a son who refuses his father's order is like a father's stool. This is 9:18:44 verse, it says. So, however, one must understand that for your son to be worthy of value to you, one must act and behave as worthy sons of their parents as well. See, because children know they're always observing the activities of them, and they will imbibe the same qualities as they grow. So let us all show to the children, to our children and to the world, that we can become worthy sons of our parents, and Lord Krishna is who is our Supreme Father. So let's seek the mercy of Guru, Prabhupada and Krishna to ingrain in us the qualities of being a worthy son or daughter. So in the second verse, we see, Sandipane Sakrit Proktam Brahmaditya sa Vistaram Tasmai Pradat Varam Putram Vritam Pancha Janodarat. Translation says, the Lord learned all the Vedas with their different branches simply by hearing them once from his teacher, Sandipa Muni, whom he rewarded by bringing back his dead son from the region of Yamaloka. See, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita 3.22 that, O son of Pritha, there is no work prescribed for me within all the 3 planetary systems, nor am I in want of anything, nor I have a need to obtain anything, and yet I am engaged in prescribed duties. And his words are followed by action, when he leads by example in every respect to guide common people like us. See, in the 10th canto, there's a very interesting incident where Krishna and Balram, they were residing in the school of their spiritual master Sandipa Muni at Avantipura. So to teach the proper way to respect one's guru, Krishna and Balram served their spiritual master with great devotion, as they would the deity of the Supreme Lord, right? So Sandipa Muni, he was very pleased by their service. So he imparted them detailed knowledge of all the Vedas, right? Together with the 6 corollaries and the Upanishads. So Krishna and Balram, they needed to hear each subject explained only once to assimilate it completely. And thus in 64 days, they learned the 64 traditional arts. So before taking leave of their guru, Krishna and Balram offered Sandipa Muni any gift that he desired. So he was very wise, right? Sandipa Muni, guru, right? So seeing their amazing prowess, he requested that they bring back his son, who had died in the ocean of Prabhasa. Now Krishna and Balram mounted a chariot and went to Prabhasa, where they approached the shore and worshipped the presiding deity of the ocean. Now Krishna asked the ocean to return his spiritual master's son. And the Lord of the ocean replied that a demon dwelling within the ocean named Panchajana had taken the boy away. So hearing this, Krishna entered the ocean, killed that demon and took the shell that had grown from his body. But when Krishna did not find his Guru's son within the demon's belly, he went to the planet of Yamaraj, the Lord of Death, right? So Yamaraj came forward when he heard Krishna blow the Panchajanya conch shell and devotedly worshipped him. So Lord Krishna then asked Yamaraj for Sandipa Muni's son. Yamaraj immediately gave the boy to them. So Krishna and Balram then returned to their spiritual master and presented him with his son, requesting him to choose yet another favor. But Sandipa Muni replied that by having obtained disciples such as them, all his desires were fulfilled. He thus instructed them to return back to their homes. So just like Krishna and Balram did not hesitate to fulfill the desires of their spiritual master, Brahmaji also very unhesitatingly followed the order of his spiritual master. Who is that? Supreme Personality of God, Krishna himself. To do tapa, and he underwent penances for 1,000 years by the calculation of the demigods. That's why in 297, the Bhagavatam, it says, when he heard the sound, he tried to find the speaker, searching in all sides. But when he was unable to find anyone besides himself, he thought it wise to sit down on his lotus seat firmly and give his attention to the execution of penance as he was instructed. So Srila Prabhupada mentions in the purport, to achieve success in life, one should follow the example of Lord Brahma, the first living creature in the beginning of creation. See, after being initiated by the Supreme Lord to execute tapasya, he was fixed in his determination to do it. And although he could not find anyone besides himself, he could rightly understand that the sound was transmitted by the Lord himself. See, when he was born, he was not born just like all of us, right? Come in the lotus stem. And nothing was there, only water all around. So Brahma was the only living being at that time because there was no other creation. And none could be found there except himself. And Prabhupada says in the 298 purport, one should be qualified enough to discern such transcendental potency. And either by discriminating or by fortunate chance, if one is able to receive the transcendental sound from the bona fide spiritual master, his path of liberation is guaranteed. So the disciple, however, must be ready to execute the order of the bona fide spiritual master, as Lord Brahma executed the instruction of his spiritual master, the Lord himself. So following the order of the bona fide spiritual master is only duty of the disciple. And this complete faithful execution of the order of the bona fide spiritual master is the secret of success. Very nice point. So similarly, in our lives, we should try to emulate the examples set by Lord himself, the great Mahajana Brahma and Srila Prabhupada, within the limitations of our capabilities of time, place, and circumstances. So we should try to give up the habit of procrastination. Procrastination means kal karenge, tomorrow. No. You should give up this habit. Or trying to do the things in an easy way by some shortcut method. See, Prabhupada had already laid down the shortcut method for us. Our job is to just adjust our lives and fit in by associating with Srila Prabhupada's books, and thereby success is guaranteed. So this is the second verse wherein they got the knowledge from Sandipa Muni. So the third verse, Samahuta Bhishmaka Kanyayaye Shriya Savarnena Bubhushayisham Gandhara Vritya Nishatam Subhagam Jahre Padam Murdni Dadat Suparnaha. Attracted by the beauty and fortune of Rukmini, the daughter of King Bhishmaka, many great princes and kings assembled to marry her. But Lord Krishna, stepping over the other hopeful candidates, carried her away as his own share, as Garuda carried away nectar. But see, it's a very beautiful pastime, but time is so short in giving the whole pastime. Now, just I will read from the purport itself, which gives a glimpse. See, Princess Rukmini, the daughter of King Bhishmaka, was actually as attractive as fortune itself, because she was as valuable as gold, both in color and in value. Since the goddess of fortune, Lakshmi, is a property of the Supreme Lord, Rukmini was actually meant for Lord Krishna. But Shishupala was selected as a bridegroom by Rukmini's elder brother. Although King Bhishmaka wanted his daughter to be married to Krishna. Now Rukmini invited Krishna to take her away from the clutches of Shishupala. So when the bridegroom, Shishupala, came there with his party with the desire to marry Rukmini, Krishna all of a sudden swept her from the scene, stepping over the heads of all the princes there, just as Garuda carried away nectar from the hands of the demons. So this incident will be clearly explained in the 10th canto. This is regarding the kidnapping of Rukmini Devi. She wrote a letter, because actually she had not seen Krishna, right? In that past time, she had just heard from different people, her father and others, the acharyas, that how Krishna looks, what is. So by that only she could visualize. And then she wrote to Krishna to come and take her away. So this is what, and Krishna was also very pleased. And it's a Brahmana, who took that note, because there was no Facebook or WhatsApp, right? Those days. So they had taken that and went to Krishna. Krishna read, and he read it to Krishna. Krishna was very pleased, and he immediately told him, "Come on, let us go." And then the complete person came and took her away. In the 4th verse, Kakotmino vidha nasodamitva swayam varinagrajitim uvaha tadbhagnamanan apigridhyatognya jagne kshataka shastra vritasva shastreihi. By subduing 7 bulls whose noses were not pierced, the Lord achieved the hand of Princess Nagnajiti in the open competition to select her bridegroom. Although the Lord was victorious, his competitors asked the hand of the princess. Thus there was a fight. Well equipped with weapons, the Lord killed or wounded all of them, but he himself was not hurt. See, in the kingdom of Ayodhya, lived a devout king named Nagnajit. He had an extraordinarily beautiful marriageable daughter named Satya or Nagnajiti. So the girl's relatives, they had laid down the stipulation that any man who could subdue a certain group of 7 ferocious bulls, they would win her hand. So when Krishna heard about the princess, he went to Ayodhya with a large contingent of soldiers. Now King Nagnajit greeted him very hospitably and very joyfully worshipped him with various offerings. So when Satya, that is Nagnajiti, saw Krishna, she immediately desired him as her husband. And King Nagnajit, understanding his daughter's intentions, he informed Lord Krishna of his own wish that the Lord and his daughter will be married. So King he told the Lord, he told Krishna, you alone will be a suitable husband for my daughter. And if you subdue the 7 bulls, you will certainly marry her. Now Krishna then manifested himself in 7 separate forms, and subdued the 7 bulls. So the King Nagnajit, now he presented his daughter to the Lord, together with the dowry of abundant gifts. And then Krishna took Satya onto his chariot for the journey back to Dwaraka. Just then what happened? The rival kings who had been defeated by the bulls, they tried to attack Krishna. But Arjuna easily beat them back. Krishna proceeded along with Nagnajiti to Dwaraka. So in the 5th verse, Priyam Prabhurgramya Iva Priyaya Vidit Surajat Dutarum Yadarte Vajradravatam Sagano Rishandiyada Krida Mrugono Namayam Vaduna. Here in the translation it says, just to please his dear wife, Lord brought back the Parijata tree from heaven, just as an ordinary husband would do. But Indra, the king of heaven, induced by his wives, henpecked as he was, ran after the Lord with full force to fight him. This also, I think most of you might be knowing about this. Correct? See, in Bhagavatam, There's the story of Bhaumasura, who was tormenting the earth and all its residents, right? So, in fact, what happened? No, he was even tormenting the denizens of the upper planetary systems, like Indra, Varuna. So, he had captured 16,100 prisoners and he had held them captive in his palace. He had stolen the earrings of Aditi, mother of the demigods. Now, Indra being he was very much disturbed by this dominance of Bhaumasura. No? So, he came to Dwarka and complained to Krishna about this. And Indra offered very humble prayers to Krishna and requested him to relieve them from this Bhaumasura's torture. So, on hearing this, Krishna took Satyabhama along with him to the abode of Bhaumasura. There was a very fierce fight happened between Krishna and Bhaumasura. Bhaumasura's soldiers came in thousands and opposed Krishna. But Supreme Lord, as he is, easily defeated them all. So finally, the Supreme Lord defeated Bhaumasura and killed him. After the battle, Krishna took the earrings of Mother Aditi and went along with Satyabhama to Indra's abode to present it to Indra and his wife Sachidevi. So Indra's wife Sachidevi, she welcomed them and thanked the Lord for delivering Bhaumasura and relieving them all of their troubles. So Krishna then took leave of them and returned. So what happened? While returning, he saw a beautiful Parijata tree. Earlier Satyabhama had asked for the Parijata flower, and Krishna remembered to give the entire tree as a gift for her. So on seeing that, they are taking the Parijata tree with them. The demigods, including Indra, became very irritated. Now Indra opposed Krishna and fought with him. Krishna, as usual, emerged victorious and took the Parijata tree with him to Dwaraka and planted it in Satyabhama's garden. In the Krishna book, Srila Prabhupada beautifully writes very important lesson for us to learn from this incident. See, Indra's behavior towards Krishna was not very much appreciated by great sages like Shukadeva Goswami. See, out of his causeless mercy, Krishna had gone to the heavenly kingdom Amaravati to present King Indra with his mother's earrings, which had been lost to Bhaumasura. And Indra had been very glad to receive them. But when a Parijata tree from the heavenly kingdom was taken by Krishna, Indra had fought with him. This was self-interest on the part of Indra. He had offered prayers, his prayer, tipping down his debt to the lotus feet of Krishna. But as soon as his purpose had been served, he became a different creature. This is what happens in the material world. So this is the way of the dealings of materialistic men. Materialistic men are always interested in their own profit. And for this purpose, they can offer any kind of respect to anyone. But when their personal interest is over, they are no longer friends. So this is a very significant lesson for all of us, because every day we face so many difficulties and we are helped by so many people to get out of them, right? However, as soon as the favor is obtained, we forget about the person and his self. So the mentality is that by remembering the favor done by the person, we will not be able to enjoy the benefit we got. Because remembering a favor and being thankful to the one who helped us means we always feel lower in position to that person. Our mind cannot tolerate being in a lower position, right? It always wants to enjoy. And for enjoying, we need to have the doer and superior mentality, which is negated when we become grateful. That is why this hesitation for gratitude is there even in the higher beings like Indra. See, he had the Parijata tree, which is present only in heaven and never to be found in the earth. Okay. So he did not want any competition in this aspect for someone to become equal to him. And Indra forgot the fact that even that Parijata tree is there in his palace only by the causeless mercy of Krishna. And he did not want to part with it when the Lord wanted it. So this ungrateful attitude disturbs our consciousness. And we cannot perform our peaceful devotional service at all. It's very nicely explained by Sutta Goswami in 3:1936. What grateful soul is there who would not render his loving service to such a great master as the Supreme Personality of Godhead? See, the Lord can be easily pleased by spotless devotees who resort exclusively to him for protection, though the unrighteous man finds it difficult to propitiate him. When we are grateful, we automatically render service to show our gratitude to someone who helped. We should ideally be grateful to all the souls who have helped us in our lives. But we are not grateful even to the Supreme Lord, who is the only source of all our wealth, knowledge, possession, name, fame, correct? So how can we be ungrateful? So if you're not grateful to Krishna, so how can we be grateful to other ordinary beings also? So to begin with, at least we should be grateful to the Lord. Prabhupada writes a very powerful purport. Every living entity, especially in the human race, must feel grateful for the benedictions offered by the grace of Supreme Lord. Anyone, therefore, with a simple heart of gratefulness must be Krishna conscious and offer devotional service to Krishna. Prabhupada says, ungrateful persons are those who do not understand how much benefit they are deriving by the arrangement of Krishna. They enjoy the sunshine and moonshine, and they get water free of charge. Yet they don't feel grateful, but simply go on enjoying these gifts of Krishna. So they must be called thieves and rogues. So let us not be thieves and rogues. Let us be grateful to the Lord for our own benefit. If we are not grateful to the Lord or other souls, they are not going to lose anything, but we will lose the shine of devotional service. Gratitude brings humility in us. And only with this attitude can we approach the Supreme Lord Krishna at his lotus feet. Otherwise, we are lost. So in the 6th verse, let us Sutam mridekam vapushagrasantam drishtva sunabhor matitam daritrya amantritastatanaya yashesham datva tadantha puramavivesham. So here, talking about Narakasura, please hear this translation purport, very important. This is a very important verse we will discuss in a little bit detail. Narakasura, son of Dharitri, the earth, tried to grab the whole sky, and for this he was killed by the Lord in a fight. His mother then prayed to the Lord. So this led to the return of the kingdom to the son of Narakasura, and thus the Lord entered the house of the demon. So it is said in other Puranas that Narakasura was the son of Dharitri, the earth, by the Lord himself. But he became a demon due to bad association. So this talks about bad association. In Bhagavad Gita 4.13, Chaturvarnim maya srishtam gunakarma vivagashah tasya kartaram api mam vidya kartaram avyayam. According to 3 modes of material nature and the work associated with them, the 4 divisions of human society were created by me. And although I am the creator of the system, you should know that I am yet the non-doer, being unchangeable. See, while describing the Varnas and Ashramas, Prabhupada, in one of his lectures, which he delivered in Hawaii in March 27, 1969, he very nicely explains the meaning of samskars. He says that every one of us is a Shudra at the time of birth. Shudra has no samskara. Samskara means training. Everyone is accepted as Shudra by birth. Janmana jayate Shudraha. Janmana means by birth. By birth, everyone is born a Shudra, a 4th class man. It is to be accepted, and actually it is like this. So just see, Prabhupada says, just like a child, innocent child. What does he know? He has to be trained. Either you train him as a Brahmana or train him as a Kshatriya or a Vaishya. Otherwise, he is a Shudra, already born Shudra. So Shudra has no training. Everyone, the basic principle, basic foreground, everyone, it is accepted as Shudra. Now, if you train him as a Brahmana, then he becomes a Brahmana. If you train him as a Kshatriya, he then becomes a Kshatriya. And if you train him as a Vaishya, Vaishya. So, this system is very scientific. If you want help of a really intelligent man or godless man, it is ready, the Brahmana class. If you require the help of a lawyer, we got so many lawyers, right? But if you require the help of a medical man, right? So they have to be trained men. So simply being born in a high parentage, it doesn't make one a Brahmana or Kshatriya or Vaishya. The first important step is training or samskara. So apart from the trainings we receive, our character is also influenced by the association we get. That's why the purport of 336 it is said, birth alone is not a criteria for goodness. See, it is said in other Puranas that Narakasura was the son of Daritri the earth by the Lord himself, but he became a demon due to bad association of Vāna, another demon. Prabhupada says in the purport, an atheist is called a demon. And it's a fact that even a person born of good parents can turn into a demon by bad association. So birth is not always a criterion of goodness. Unless and until one is trained in the culture of good association, one cannot become good. In our own lives, we would have experienced, either at a school or at work, we would have received training in so many different subjects. But over the years, if you're not in touch with it, or we don't do any work on that, we tend to forget it. Whereas a person who has received the training, as well as his work experience on that, becomes an expert in that subject. Even if you are gifted with good parentage, proper training and good association, unless we practice what we learned, we cannot be useful instruments in the hands of Guru and Krishna. Very important point. Proper training and good association. See, in case of Shringi, you find in Bhagavatam that although he had received good training from his father, because he did not practice what he had learned, he made the mistake of cursing Maharaj Parikshit. So Prabhupada says, just like if you are simply trained or educated as a lawyer, and if you are not practicing the court, nobody comes to you to consult as a lawyer. Nobody cares for you. You must be practicing also. Similarly, a Brahmana, to become a Brahmana, means first of all, he must know what is Brahman, and he must be actually situated in the activities of Brahman. So devotional service are activities of Brahman. Activities in Krishna consciousness means activities in Brahman. Brahme charati ti iti Brahma brahmachari. Charati means acts. Actually, he acts in life. Applies the principles of Brahmana in his life. He is called brahmachari. So these were the trainings. Prabhupada says in the purport. So Prabhupada says how in ancient times, based on the nature and tendency of the child, the Guru gave the corresponding training and molded them into nice individuals. But nowadays, we don't have the luxury of Gurukul. But Krishna has so mercifully left behind scriptures like Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam, and has sent his dear representatives like Srila Prabhupada. So we can get all the training required to lead a proper life from them. So by always taking association of such great souls, and by abiding by their instructions and practice them in our life, we will be able to purify our existence. Only two things we should do: glorify Krishna, purify our existence. See, in the 7th verse, 7th and 8th combined, we'll read that. Tatra hartasta naradeva kanyaha kujena drishtva harimata bandhum utthaya sadyo jagruhu praharsha Vṛndāvana prahitavadokaihi. There in the house of the demon, all the princesses kidnapped by Narakasura at once became alert upon seeing the Lord, the friend of the distressed. They looked upon him with eagerness, joy, and shyness, and offered to be his wives. The 8th verse, Asam muhurte kasmin nanagareshu yoshitam savidam jagrahe pani anurupasvamayaya. All those princesses were lodged in different apartments, and the Lord simultaneously assumed different bodily expansions, exactly matching each and every princess. He accepted their hands in perfect rituals by his internal potency. That's why in the purport, he says, Brahma Samhita 5.3, the Lord is described as follows in regard to his innumerable plenary expansions. Advaitam achyutam anadi mananta rupam Adyam Purana Purusham Navayauvanam cha Vedeshu Durlabha Madurlabhamatma Bhakto Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. So the Lord Govinda, whom I worship, is the original personality of Godhead. He is not different from his innumerable plenary expansions, for all infallible, original, and unlimited, and who have eternal forms. Although he is primeval, the oldest personality, is always fresh and young. By his internal potency, the Lord can expand himself into various personalities of Swayam Prakasha and again into Prabhava and Vaibhava forms. All of them are non-different from one another. The forms into which the Lord expanded to marry the princesses in different apartments were all slightly different just to match each and every one of them. They are called Vaibhava Vilasa, forms of the Lord, and are affected by his internal potency, Yogamaya. See, in Chaitanya Charitamrita 1.6, Adi Lila 1.6 said, the personality of Godhead exhibits himself in two kinds of forms, Prakasha and Vilasa. The purport of this, Prabhupada says, the Supreme Lord expands his personal forms in two primary categories. The Prakasha forms are manifested by Lord Krishna for his pastimes, and their features are exactly like his. So when Lord Krishna married 16,000 queens in Dwarka, yes, he did so in 16,000 Prakasha expansions. Similarly, during the Rasa dance, he expanded himself in identical Prakasha forms to dance beside each and every gopi simultaneously. When the Lord manifests his Vilasa expansions, they are somewhat different in their bodily features. So Lord Balram is the first Vilasa expansion of Lord Krishna. The 400 Narayana forms in Vaikuntha expand from Balrama. So there is no difference between the bodily forms of Krishna and Balrama, except that their body colors are different. So similarly, Sri Narayana in Vaikuntha has 4 hands, where Krishna has only 2. So the expansions of the Lord who manifest such body difference are known as Vilasa Vigrahas. So there are little technical things we can understand. So in the 9th verse, Tasvapatyani ajanaya atmatulyani sarvatah ekaikasyam dasha dasha prakriter vibhushaya. Just to expand himself according to his transcendental features, the Lord begot in each and every one of them 10 offspring with exactly his own qualities. So the 10th canto, 90th chapter, it says, Lord Krishna begot 10 sons in the womb of each of his queens. So among these sons, Pradyumna was the foremost, being equal to his father in all transcendental qualities. That's why Krishna, in the Krishna book, chapter 50th chapter, Prabhupada says, while Jarasandha was attempting his 18th attack, a Yavana king somewhere to the south of Mathura, he became attracted by the opulence of Yadu dynasty and also attacked the city. And he said that the king of the Yavanas was known as Kalayavana, and he was induced to attack by Narada Muni. So this story is narrated in Vishnu Purana. He once, Gargamuni, the priest of the Yadu dynasty, was taunted by his brother-in-law. So when the kings of the Yadu dynasty heard the taunt, they laughed at him. And Gargamuni became very angry. He became angry with the Yadu kings. So he decided that he would produce someone who would be very fearful to the Yadu dynasty. So he pleased Lord Shiva and he received from him the benediction of a son. And he begot his son Kalayavana, the wife of a Yavana king. So this Kalayavana, he inquired from Narada Muni, who are the most powerful kings in the world? Narada informed that the Yadus were the most powerful. So thus he got the information. Kalayavana attacked the city of Mathura at the same time, and at the same time Jarasandha tried to attack it for the 18th time. Now Kalayavana was very eager to declare war on a king of the world who would be suitable combatant for him. But he had not found anyone so far. So by being informed about Mathura by Narada Muni, he thought it is wise to attack the city with 30 million Yavana soldiers. Prabhupada writes in the purport of 3.3.13, the Lord is constrained to award punishment upon the wrongdoer, but is not happy to award such a punishments because the living entities are originally his parts and parcels. To this point, see, the point is that we repent for a while, and after some time we forget our original distressful condition, and then boast ourselves as masters, ready to accept the challenges of this very insurmountable material nature. And we repeat this again and again. But one day, by the mercy of Krishna, the repentance will be completely left out. So our propensity to become rebellious to the will of the Lord will cease. So our original constitutional position would be revealed to us. Thereby what happens? The complete suspension of modes will happen. And then we can become completely Krishna conscious. See, we may ask a question that when this will happen. But actually, in fact, subtly, no, it is happening in our consciousness. Slowly and steadily. And one day with the complete mercy of Lord, our consciousness will be completely purified. See, we may not be able to visualize very tangibly because Krishna consciousness is completely transcendental in nature. So the impression of Krishna consciousness is slowly changing the soul's nature towards the will of the Lord. And in order to accelerate this purification, what we have to do? We may have to do Tivra Bhakti. Tivra Bhakti, unadulterated Bhakti towards the Lord. This is very, very important for all of us to understand. So here the 10th verse says, no? Kala Magada Sa Shalvadhin Anikai Rudathat Puram Ajik Ghanat Swayam Divyam Swapumsam Teja Adisha. Kalavana, the king of Magadha, and Salva attacked the city of Mathura, but when the city was encircled by the soldiers, the Lord refrained from killing them personally, just to show the power of his own men. In the 11th verse, Shambaram Dvidam Banam Murambalvalam Evacha Anyamsha Dantavakradi Avadit Kamsha Ghatayat. Of kings like Shambara, Dvivida, Bana, Mura, Balvala, and many other demons, such as Dantavakra, some he killed himself, some he caused to be killed by others, Sri Baladeva, etc. The 12th verse, Atate Bhratra Putranam, Pakshayopatitan Ripan, Chachalahu Kurukshetram, Yesham Apatatam Balaihi. Then, O Vidura, the Lord caused all the kings, both the enemies and those on the side of your fighting nephews, to be killed in the battle of Kurukshetra. All those kings were so great and strong, the earth seemed to shake as they traversed the warfield. And 13th, this is another wonderful verse. Sakarna Dushasana Sobalanam Kumantra Pakena Hata Shriyayasvisam Suyodhanam Satyucharam Shayanam Bhagnor Muvyam Nanananda Pashyan. Duryodhana was bereft of his fortune and duration of life because of the intricacy of ill advice given by Karna, Dushasana, and Sobala. When he lay on the ground with his followers, his thighs broken, although he was powerful, the Lord was not happy to see the scene. This word, the last line, is very important. Let us discuss in a bit detail. See, in our earlier days, when only Doordarshan was there, we all used to see Mahabharata, right? There was a scene of fighting between Duryodhana and Bhima after the war was over. And at that time, we saw that Lord Krishna advised Bhima to break the thighs of Duryodhana while the fight was going on. So on seeing Duryodhana's thighs broken, I felt so happy that he deserved that. And he is even something more. How much suffering he had inflicted on the Pandavas. We used to think like that, right? Similarly, when the jewel on Ashwatthama's head was severed by Arjuna and he was driven out, I used to feel that this punishment was very less for such a great criminal. I realized that all these feelings of anger and enmity against them, and my considering myself to be the judge, deciding on the amount of punishment to be awarded to them, is completely foolish. Because when I was going through this Bhagavatam, we feel that this is all foolish when we are thinking at that time. So while remembering the Supreme Lord, Uddhava speaks this verse to Vidura, 3:13. See, in the case of Ashwatthama, who was an assassin and murderer of Draupadi's children, 5 children, right? When Arjuna brought him before Lord Krishna, first the Lord advised Arjuna to kill him. Then when Draupadi spoke the principles of religion and said that he should be released, the Lord agreed to that. Now, Arjuna understood the motive of the Lord after hearing his orders to satisfy the scriptural rulings, promises to Draupadi and Bhima's feelings. So then Arjuna He just severed both the hair and the jewel from the head of Ashwatthama. Thus, he was humiliated. So when we are just thinking that he deserves more punishment, to our surprise, we find from Bhagavatam, 8th canto, 13th chapter, 15 and 16 verse, that in the 8th Manvantara, Ashwatthama would be among the 7 sages. So Prabhupada writes, in this purport of 13, the Lord is constrained to avoid punishment upon the wrongdoer. He's constrained, but he's not happy to avoid such punishments because the living entities are originally his parts and parcels. See, the parents may punish a child for all his wrong activities in order to correct him. But it does not mean that they hate the children. The same parent who punishes a child for correction cannot tolerate his child being insulted by others also. This we can relate. So this makes me understand that we cannot take the position of a judge and pass judgments or brand somebody as bad when that person is undergoing refinement process awarded by the Lord or the spiritual master. We cannot understand the deep feeling of love and compassion of the Lord or the spiritual master they have inside their heart for the fallen persons. So the Krishna, the Lord is Dina Bandhu, the friend of the fallen. So this is only hope. See in Bhagavatam 4:28-61, this verse is spoken by Narada Muni to King Prachini Barahishat, who was completely entangled in performing fruitive activities. See, that verse he says, sometimes you think yourself a man, sometimes a chaste woman, and sometimes a neutral eunuch. This is all because of the body, which is created by the illusory energy. This illusory energy is my potency, and actually both of us, you and I, are pure spiritual identities. Now just try to understand this. I am trying to explain our factual position. See, when King Dhritarashtra's wife, Gandhari, delivered the child, when he delivered, the child was not crying. Actually, she had given birth to a lump of flesh. So Vyasadeva instructed that the lump be divided into 100 pieces and preserved in 100 earthen pots full of ghee. He instructed that if you open the earthen pots after 12 months, in each pot there will be a child. So they were eagerly waiting for 12 months. And after the year passed, they opened the pots, and from the first pot, Duryodhana came out. As soon as he was born, he did not cry like a normal child, but he cried like a donkey. Vidura was there. He said, please excuse me. This is your first child, but he should be killed. He will bring ill fortune to the whole family. Now, Dhritarashtra did not listen to Vidura, and he said, he is just 2 minutes born child. How can you say that he will bring misfortune to the dynasty? So the child was brought up. See, that was Krishna's plan. Krishna is always very kind. Whatever a living entity does, he has to suffer his own karmic reactions. Krishna need not kill the living entities. He just allows them to perform sinful actions, and by their own sinful actions, eventually the living entity has to disappear. Krishna was so very kind that even though he wanted Duryodhana to be killed, when he was really killed, Krishna did not feel not at all good about it. That's what he will see in the 3.13. So as soon as you mix your source of income and the source of maintenance, this is our condition. Duryodhana had bad association all the way. That is why we are so fortunate. Not because of Duryodhana. We are fortunate because for generations to come, we are very much indebted to Srila Prabhupada, his efforts. See, not only us, but our 10 generations to come, they will be indebted to this Srila Prabhupada. He has given us the opportunity wherein we can have the good association. Except, see, Prabhupada's temple, so there is not really good. Right? You cannot find any good relation anywhere else. Half an hour or 1 hour of we discuss Srimad Bhagavatam. Maybe a few living entities will be sitting in their temple. Doesn't matter. But these vibrations are going around. These vibrations are Shuddha, Shubha. Shubha means auspicious vibrations. It is non-different from Krishna. It is very good association. So thereby we are saved. Duryodhana was demonic by nature. And in addition to it, he was surrounded by Karna, Dushasana, and Shakuni. These three, Kumantra Pakena, they were always seeing him and filling his ears with poison. Duryodhana himself was not that bad, but the association was completely obnoxious. See, what happened to this Duryodhana? He was not a bad man. At the time of death, he was very good. It so happened that his thigh was broken by Bhima and he was lying on the battlefield. No. So Ashwatthama was the son of Dronacharya. He was very devoted to Duryodhana. So Ashwatthama thought, I must please my master. So he went to the Pandavas' camp, killed the 5 sons of Draupadi when they were in sleep, and went running to Duryodhana on the battlefield, and he shouted and screamed, Duryodhana, Duryodhana. Duryodhana was pleased to see him at that time, as he was breathing his last. Ashwatthama said, I have good news for you. Duryodhana, what's it? I have finished the Pandavas for you. There is nobody left. Now I have killed all the children. Duryodhana in that condition also said, you have committed a heinous crime. Now how will our tradition continue? At the time of death, we become very good. But it was a bit too late to become good. We already spread the poison all over life. Then at the time of death, when you have to approach Yamaraj, we become very good, very nice boys. And Yamaraj says, yes, you are very nice now, but what happened to you in the past? You will undergo all the reactions for whatever you have done. So this is how we should remember these things. Ashwatthama, when he conveyed this message, Duryodhana was not pleased at all. Not only that, Duryodhana was not that bad, but when he was associated with Karna, Dushasana, and Shakuni, then he became bad. So, see, this verse tells about the nature of Duryodhana and Krishna also. Krishna kills the demons. But when they are actually killed, he is not pleased because demons are also his children, but they defy. That's all. Otherwise, they are all not bad persons. So these lines, no interest. They say here, because of the bad association of Karna and all, he became bad. So everything he lost, everything, including his kingdom, his life, was all completely destroyed. So somehow or the other, you have to come to the pages of Bhagavatam. See, many times we see that based on our limited intelligence and knowledge, we propose some theories and understanding that this is why it has happened like this. This was like this, so it happened like this. Actually, it is the estimate of like a frog in the well. See, a similar point is the reason of Lord Krishna's incarnation. See, Krishna is categorically, he was very much, he said in Bhagavad Gita 4.7, Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata abhyutthana madharmasya tadatmanam srajamyaham. Whenever and wherever there is a decline in religious practice, O descendant of Bharata, and a predominant rise of religion, at that time I descend myself. So 13th verse was very nice to understand. Now let us recite the last verse for this today. There is a 14th one. Kya bhuoyam chapitor bharo yadrona bhishmarjuna bhimamulaihi ashtadashaksho nikomadam sher aste balandur visaham yaduna. After the end of the battle of Kurukshetra, the Lord said, the abatement of the earth's great burden, 18 Akshonis, has now been effected with the help of Drona, Bhishma, Arjuna, and Bhima. But what is this? There is still the great strength of the Yadu dynasty, born of myself, which may be a more unbearable burden. See, that's what Yada Dharma say, right? But still, there are people in general, they misunderstand the statement in this. They say, the Lord appeared to reduce the burden of the earth. And they take it literally, saying that the Lord has appeared to reduce the increasing population of the earth. And even start proposing birth control pills and such other techniques to prevent overpopulation. That's why we see in the 14th verse, Prabhupada says in the purport, it is a wrong theory that due to an increase in population, the world becomes overburdened, and therefore there are wars and other annihilating processes. The Prabhupada says the earth is never overburdened. The heaviest mountains and oceans on the face of the earth, they hold more living entities than there are human beings. And they are not overburdened. See, if a census were to be taken to all the living beings on the surface of this earth, certainly it will be found that the number of humans is not even 5% of the total number of living beings. If the birth rate of human beings is increasing, birth rate of other living is increasing proportionately. The birth rate of lower animals like beasts, aquatics, birds is far greater than that of human beings. There is adequate arrangement for food for all the living beings all over the earth by the order of Supreme Lord Krishna. And he can arrange more and more if there is actually a disproportionate increase of living beings also. So Prabhupada says, what exactly is meant by reducing the burden of the earth? See, overburden was not due to increasing population. Overburden was not due to increasing population, but due to the increasing population of miscreants, or those who do not act in a way pleasing to the Lord. So therefore, there is no question of increasing population causing a burden. The earth became overburdened due to dharmaglani, irregular discharge of Lord's desire. See, the Lord appeared on the earth to curb the increase in miscreants, not the increase in population, as it is wrongly put forward by the mundane economist. When Lord Krishna appeared, there was sufficient increase in miscreants, who had violated the desire of the Lord. So the material creation is meant for fulfilling the desire of the Lord. And his desire is that conditioned souls who are unfit to enter into the kingdom of God have a chance to improve their condition for entering into it. So Prabhupada then gives a positive conclusion to understand what it really means by burden on earth. Although there may be a great increase in population on the surface of the earth, if the people are exactly in line with God consciousness and are not miscreants, such a burden on earth is a source of pleasure for the earth. So there are two kinds of burdens. There is a burden of the beast and the burden of love. Burden of the beast is unbearable, but the burden of love is a source of pleasure. That's why Sri Vishwanatha Chakravarti Thakura describes the burden of love very practically. He says that the burden of the husband on the young wife, the burden of the child on the lap of the mother, the burden of wealth on the businessman, although actually burdens from the viewpoint of heaviness, are sources of pleasure. And in the absence of such burdensome objects, one may feel the burden of separation, which is heavier to bear than the actual burden of love. So Prabhupada also answers those who get a question in their minds as to why would then the Lord remove his own clan, Yadu dynasty, from the surface of the earth. When Lord Krishna referred to the burden of the Yadu dynasty on the earth, he referred to something different than the burden of the beast. The large numbers of family members born of Lord Krishna counted to some millions, and was certainly a great increase in the population of the earth. But because all of them were expansions of the Lord himself by his transcendental plenary expansions, they were a source of great pleasure for the earth. So when the Lord referred to them in connection with the burden on the earth, he had in mind their imminent disappearance from the earth. So all the members of the family of Lord Krishna were incarnations of different demigods, and they were to disappear from the surface of the earth along with the Lord. So when he referred to the unbearable heaviness of the earth in connection with the Yadu dynasty, he was referring to the burden of their separation. So Srila Jiva Goswami confirms this influence. So the whole purport is so beautifully composed by Srila Prabhupada that we need not look to any other source of answers to the questions. In fact, it was tough for me to choose which part of the purport was more important, which one less important. So beautiful purport. And it again stresses on the obvious point that how important it is to follow the Shastras left by our Acharyas, especially Srila Prabhupada, and how big a zero are we without taking shelter of them. The actual need of the hour is not reduction in population. What is the actual need of the hour is not reduction in population, but the reduction in our unwanted lust, greed, and envy. This is the most important point to understand. We'll stop here. Thank you very much, Guru Matajis, for giving me this opportunity to glorify the Lord and try to purify myself. So thank you very much. Grantha Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srila Gurudev ki jai. Jai Gaur Premanandi Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna
Hare
Prabhuji.
The class was very gripping, Prabhuji. I wish you could repeat it again.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.